Hello friends, you are welcome back to another episode. To my new viewers and my old viewers, I appreciate you all for all your support. So this is the dress we'll be making today, and if this is looking like what you are interested in, kindly keep watching and make sure you watch to the end. And at the end, please give me a thumbs up and hit on the subscribe button if you've not done that. Let's get started. This pattern is just for the upper part of this dress. So we'll be drafting on a paper. Note that you can draft this on your clothes directly as well. I have folded my front and the back bodies together, and I have my zipper allowance from the first line I marked. So I'm taking my half length or shoulder to waist measurements. I am taking 10 inches and I will mark it across plus the joining allowance to the skirt part. The next thing is for me to take half of my shoulder measurement, which is 5 inches. I will not be adding any seam allowance. I'll just take it exactly 5 inches, and my neck width of 2.5 inches and neck depth of 2.75 inches for the front. Then I'll connect the shoulder slant. So from that shoulder slant, I'll take half of her armhole, and I will repeat the same thing from the front just to get a straight line. So I will put what I have on my shoulder on this line and connect it straight with the shoulder slant. And when I get the midpoint, I'll mark it and come in by half an inch for the front. And on my chest line, I'll take quarter of my chest measurement. And I'll add my 1 inch seaming allowance. I will repeat the same thing to the waist line. And from that half an inch that I came in from the front part, I'll connect it to the chest line and to the shoulder slant. Next is to add half an inch to my shoulder for shoulder joining. So like I said, the first neckline was for the front, so I will take for the back. I am taking 1 inch for the back. So this is up to you. Whatever neckline you want for the back, feel free to go ahead. So for the armhole for the back, I'll just connect the midpoint I located to the chest line. So I'll go ahead and cut the pattern, and I'll use it to cut on my fabric, both on the main fabric and on the lining. So since I've cut through the back lines, I'll remove it and trim off the front neckline and the front armhole. So I'll just label as my front and as my back pattern. I will indicate that I will cut my front on fold and my back I will cut it times 2. And on the back part, I will come up by half an inch from the zipper line and connect to the side seam, and I will trim it off. So I'll use this to cut exactly on my fabric. Note that I have added all my seaming allowance, so there's no need to add my allowance on the fabric again. And after cutting it, this is what it looks like. So for the front part on the main fabric, I added the sample lace that I'm working with. And I also made a belt on the side seam, but leave 0.75 inches allowance that you'll be using to join to the skirt part. So I'll place right side facing each other, the front and the back, and I'll stitch with half an inch on the shoulder part. and I'll repeat the same thing for the lining. So when I finished joining, this is what I have. Iron the same line open both on the main fabric and on the lining. So at this point, you can place your lining and your main fabric and stitch on the neckline, leaving your zipper allowance of 1 inch on both sides. Stitch on the neckline. So here on this video, I indicated that you can stitch on your armhole, but please do not, so that it will be beginner friendly. Do not. I can maneuver it, but you might not, so I ended up losing it. So after stitching, you notch and turn it out, but I later loosened up the armhole. I just stitched on the neckline and notched. You can top stitch as well. So after stitching, I turned it out. This is when I stitched both on the neckline and on the armhole. I can actually maneuver this while fixing my ruffle. I have a video of that, of something like this on the channel, but I found out that I still get a lot of questions. How did I manage to fix the zip neatly when I have the front parts joined together? So on the process of the video, I had to change my mind and loosen up the armhole. So do not stitch on your armhole. So after turning it, I'll get the midpoint on the front part and I'll mark it. I had already marked the lines, but I noticed that I lost the clip, so I will show you exactly what I did. And on my shoulder part, I'll get the midpoint as well and I'll mark it. And with my French curve, just a slightly curved ruler, or you can just make it straight. From the center front, you can come out by 2 inches or 3 inches. I came out by 3 inches, so 2 inches will also be fine. And I'll connect the two lines. On the back part, I would first take away my zipper allowance of 1 inch, then I'll come out by 3 inches as well. Like I say, you can also use 2 inches. So this is what I will repeat on the other part of the bodice. From the center line, I came out by 3 inches. On the shoulder line, I located the midpoint and I joined it with a slightly curved ruler. You can make yours straight, you can make yours curvy. And on the back part, I took away my 1 inch zipper allowance and I marked 3 inches. So I made a straight line as well, a curvy line rather. So I'll be fixing my ruffles on those lines. And for my ruffles, I've cut out 4 inches in length. Depends on what you want. I've cut out 4 inches and the width is 10 yards. Each of that ruffle, each of that net is 10 yards. So I wish I had used 20 yards so that it will come out fuller. But I had exhausted my net fabric when I was making this. So if you like the volume of my own dress, you can use 10 yards. If you want it fuller, use 20 yards. So I'll go ahead and gather it up. And after gathering, I've added to one side. I'll show you what I did to the second side. So like I said, I later loosened up the armhole so that it will be easier to fix. And at the end, you will have your back part and your front part open. So on those lines I mark, I will take away 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch from the waistline. To be on the safe side, take away 3/4 of an inch. You can fix it on this side and flip to the other side. But since I'll be having a trimmings, I will not be fixing it like that. I'll just fix it the way you see me doing it. I'll first locate the midpoint. Remember to take away your lining. It's only on the main fabric. I'll place it on the line and pin on the shoulder first. Make sure you are pinning on top of the line. On top of the line, so that your stitch will be on top of the line. So I'll go and sew it straight. And after sewing, the down part, I'll be trimming it in a curvy form. So, but before then, I'll trim off my excess allowance that I used to sew it. So this is what I have after sewing it. And those excess fabric, excess net allowance that I have, I'll trim it off. And with my trimmings, you can use a cup chain. You can also use a bias. So I'll place it and cover the rough edges. I have two of it. From the shoulder, I'll pin. I'll be using a hot glue for this, but if yours is sewable, you can sew yours. So at this point, I can now close my armhole. So I'll match the shoulder point together and pin, and I'll pin through to the front and to the back as well. I'll make sure I am not pinning it together with the net. The net will be sandwiched in between the lining and the main fabric. I'll repeat the same thing to the other part. Make sure you are not pinning the net together. So after pinning it, you can notch, but I had notched this before when I was sewing the other part. So at this point, you can turn it inside out. It will be a bit of struggle because the volume is now bigger. So I will take my time and turn it, making sure I'm taking it gently so that I do not tear the net or rip it open. So when I finish opening it, I can now iron. So like I said, if you want the first method that I joined both the neckline and the armhole together, you can as well do that. But mind you, when you are joining this ruffle, you will stitch on it and your front part will be open. So you will not be able to join your zip easily the way we normally join it, unless you know the method that I used in one of my videos where I showed how to maneuver things like this. So I will close up the side, matching the front and the back parts together, lining to lining, fabric to fabric, and I'll close with 1 inch. So after doing that, this is what it looks like. The front part is closed, the lining is closed as well. You can iron your seam line open, and I have made my skirt. This tutorial only focused on the upper part. I've made my skirt and I will use it to join my skirt. I will locate the midpoint on my skirt and the midpoint on my fabric, and I will join it. I have my lining as well. I will join my lining to lining. Make sure you are not joining your skirt part to your lining. So I have a half circle cut out for my lining. I will use it to join my lining part as well. So, and also to my trimmings, I will use hot glue to attach it. So this is what I have at the end. Thank you for watching up to this point, and remember to hit the subscribe button if you've not. Also give me a thumbs up, share, and leave a comment for me on the comment section. Thank you, and see you in my next videos. Bye.